Before we start, if you're new here and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content like this. I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so all support would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, with that being said, let's get right into this. NBA free agency is around the corner, and the Dallas Mavericks are looking to reload after a good 2019 to 2020 NBA season. Mavericks came into the 2019 season with little expectations. Then the season happened and the team, under the direction of All-Star Luka Doncic and former All-Star Kristaps Porzingis, and reached the playoffs and were competitive against a team that had the talent to contend for the NBA Finals. A new season is on the horizon, which means new faces along with new expectations have entered the building. After a very short time in rebuilding mode, it does feel good knowing the Mavs are looking for free agents to help them contend for some hardware. However, even though the team recognizes they are perhaps one player away from making it past the first round, there is a general understanding between teams and fans that the 2020 free agency class not only doesn't have enough game-changing talent, but also it pales in comparison to the 2021 free agency class, which is headlined by two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Nevertheless, when a team realizes they are in a championship window, no matter how long it may last, not making an active attempt to surround your best players with the right talent every year is how good teams perpetually underachieve over the course of their championship window. In an attempt to avoid this issue, here's 3 free agents who I think could provide significant contributions to the Mavericks for the upcoming season, as well as in the future. This probably wasn't the first player you expected to see on this list, but at least give me the chance to explain why this combination could work. Jordan Clarkson's ascent to being a productive role player for a playoff team has slow and steady. After spending 4 years in college, first 3 years at Tulsa, the last at Missouri, he joined the Los Angeles Lakers by the way of cash considerations after the Washington Wizards selected him 46th overall in the 2014 NBA draft. After spending his first season between the Lakers and their G League affiliates, Clarkson eventually found himself an important role with the team for the following 3 seasons before being sent to Cleveland and then finally Utah. Clarkson has solidified himself as a solid scoring guard that generally comes off the bench in order to provide some offense. In the 2019 to 2020 season, he played in 72 games with Cleveland and Utah, starting a total of 2 games. For both teams, he averaged 15.2 points per game on benches that were 24th and 23rd respectively in the league for bench points per game. Clarkson himself provided each team with half of their bench points and was a big reason why Utah was able to move up the standings before the season suspended play in March. He provided the team a surge of points they previously didn't have, outside of the combination of Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic and maybe Mike Conley on a good day. The Mavs badly needed some scoring off the bench in the playoffs. Trey Burke was very good in his short run with the team, but it was pretty clear the team missed Jalen Brunson. It is important to differentiate that Brunson and Clarkson have different skill sets as players, but the value both players provide is relatively similar as they can help boost offensive production when they're on the floor. Clarkson averaged 36% on 6 threes per game. Utah was 10th in the league in three-point attempts. Dallas was second in three-point attempts this season. Thus far in his career, Clarkson has shown that when he gets more volume, his efficiency doesn't drop. While he might not start in Dallas, he could garner more playing time under one big condition. Tim Hardaway Jr. must opt out of his player option. It is unsure where Hardaway's intentions lie, but it doesn't seem unreasonable to assume that he likely reached his ceiling last season under coach Rick Carlisle. Hardaway had career highs in nearly every category, under most circumstances, that would likely result in a bump in salary. With this reality and the number of rumors linked to the Mavericks signing or trading for certain players, Hardaway is starting to feel increasingly replaceable. He shouldn't be, but it definitely feels like it. Take what Tim Hardaway Jr. did for the team and give that exact role to Clarkson. Throw in the fact that Clarkson would be coming off the bench and will be several $1 million cheaper than Hardaway Jr., and that could not be a more ideal situation for the team. Of course, this whole situation depends on a player who has yet to accept his option. The popular choice amongst most is Bogdan Bogdanovic. He's long been connected to all-star Luka Doncic, as they are good friends from neighboring Balkan countries. Bogdanović has also been connected because of his ability to well on and off the ball. An issue for the Serbian has been the constant change in his role with the team. When the whole team was healthy, Bogdanović was pushed to the bench to back up Harrison Barnes. When Marvin Bagley got injured, he was thrust into the starting lineup. He lined up at small forward. When he did start, Bogdanović averaged roughly 2 more minutes, but also 2 more points per game than when he came off the bench. His offensive rating went up to 116 from the 103 off the bench, and the Kings' record when he started was 16-12. They were 13-20 when he came off the bench. The numbers aren't much to awe over, but he clearly gave the Kings a better chance to win when he was on the court because he is a smart player who can create a shot for himself and others, and he displays consistent effort on the defensive end. The most challenging part of obtaining Bogdanović will be having to pay more than he's worth. He is currently a restricted free agent. He was previously making $9 million a year. His market value likely north of $14-15 million per year. At that salary, Sacramento would likely match that deal from any team. For that reason, if the Mavericks wanted the Serbian's services, they'd likely have to pay north of $19 million per year. For a 28-year-old that hasn't started 100 games in his career so far, that feels like a premium, even if he is a pretty good ballplayer. However, as I mentioned previously, if a team is wasting their time not pursuing players that will elevate their squad, they are bound to underachieve no matter the price point. This might be an option the Mavericks didn't plan on pursuing but might have to do. This move would feel reminiscent of the Seth Curry acquisition from last offseason, seeing as Crowder had a short stint early on in his career with the Mavericks. After being sent to the Boston Celtics in the infamous Rajon Rondo trade that netted Dwight Powell, Crowder has seen his career take off, fall off, and rise again. At his best, Crowder is a legitimate 3-and-D threat for any team. He does not shy away from contact on defense and was often seen as a tough guy for the Heat, who already have Jimmy Butler. However, across Crowder's career, he hasn't always separated himself from other starting caliber small forwards with his play. Since his departure from Dallas, Crowder has played in Boston, Cleveland, Utah, Memphis, and most recently Miami. No matter where he's been, he has been serviceable and not much else. Nevertheless, that is great news for a team in serious need of a consistent wing piece. With Luka Doncic, Kristaps Porzingis, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell seemingly locked into the starting lineup, there is one spot available for a multitude of people. If Tim Hardaway Jr. leaves, that spot is likely Seth Curry's. If he doesn't, it is likely Hardaway Jr. It isn't likely that Crowder finds himself playing a consistent role in the starting lineup, but the team is lacking in wing depth outside of Dorian Finney-Smith. With Michael Kidd-Gilchrist being pursued by the Cleveland Cavaliers, the team's backup is Justin Jackson. Crowder fits in nicely as a valuable depth piece, not only for his contributions as a wing player, but also for his contributions as a bruiser tough guy. That final bit is what the team needs after the Los Angeles Clippers wanted to get into the mind of the team. However, the biggest question now is how does the team make him the most effective version of himself? In his very short regular season stint in Miami, Crowder shot 44.5% on 6.4 attempts per game from the three-point line. In total, Crowder averaged 11.9 points per game. That 44.5% was by far the highest percentage Crowder averaged from the three-point line in his career. When competing in the playoffs, he averaged 34.2% on 12.2 attempts per game from the three-point line. In total, Crowder averaged 12 points per game for the playoffs. What changed once Crowder made the playoffs? The clearest answer is he shot more. His attempts nearly doubled. As a result, his average regressed to his mean of 34%. This was likely the most significant change. Over the course of Crowder's career, the number of attempts per game has yet to drastically affect his shooting percentages. All of these numbers point to one obvious development: no matter how much you play Crowder, he can essentially duplicate the role of Dorian Finney-Smith when he exits the floor. During the regular season, Finney-Smith shot 49% of his three-point shots from the corner. He converted on 43% of those shots. With the Heat, Crowder shot 31% of his shots from the corner and converted 47% of those shots. In the playoffs, Finney-Smith attempted 27% of his threes from the corner, converting 37.5% of them. Crowder attempted 22% of his threes from the corner, converting 31% of them. While the efficiency averages differ greatly, the usage seems relatively similar, especially considering that Crowder and Finney-Smith were assisted on almost all of their three-point shots in the playoffs and were assisted on most of their baskets during the regular season. Crowder's age and career production put a ceiling on how much he makes, but if anything, that only benefits teams as they would get a solid player at such an affordable cost. For the Mavericks, Crowder's contribution would be invaluable. Hopefully, if this were to occur, Coach Carlisle can make Crowder's homecoming a bit more enjoyable than when he exited the Metroplex. This free agency doesn't have the elite talent of the projected 2021 free agency class, but there is still plenty of value if you look at the list correctly. All three players would be excellent and affordable additions to the team that put them one step closer to the Larry O'Brien. The beautiful thing here is there are so many more free agents available. And that will conclude the video. Let me know all your thoughts on this down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. With that being said, I am out. Peace.